Hi folks, today we're going to talk Chapter 5, Crafting an Argument. During this mini lesson, we'll discuss what an argument is, introduce ethos, pathos, logos, identify the argument structure, and explore effective language. Now, what exactly is an argument? An argument is claim, evidence, and reasoning, or a warrant, depending on the formal structure that you are working with. And so an argument, if you think about when was the last time you tried to convince someone of something? It might be as small as where to go for dinner on a Friday night, or to come hang out with you, or watch a specific movie. But we are constantly using argumentation in our everyday lives. We just aren't always aware of it, and if we're aware of the structure, we can be more persuasive. So today we're going to cover what an argument is, and essentially how we can better enhance our arguments to be able to engage with people and get our messages across. So an argument defined by our chapter is a series of statements that supports a claim or a proposition. Your thesis statement is also known as your claim. And if you think back to high school writing, you probably talked claim, evidence, and reasoning or warrant in your English classes. So utilizing that framework, your job as someone who is persuading or implementing argumentation is to prove the reliability of a claim. And so why does argument, why does it matter in our speeches? Now, I think people think argument and they immediately think debate, but that's not always the case. Arguments aren't just persuasive speeches. Sometimes they're informative speeches, and we're trying to explain why something matters. They obviously can be persuasive. They can also be ceremonial speeches or special occasion speeches that are designed to inspire, or perhaps you're trying to entertain people. So I really liked this advertisement here with a little kid smoking, which is shocking, and it's really about going vegan. So it is not even about anti-smoking. It's an argument from a vegan organization. I think it's actually from PETA. So it says, you wouldn't let your child smoke. Like smoking, eating meat increases the risk of heart disease and cancer. So we are obviously using pathos or our emotional appeals to engage an audience. Logically speaking, when you look at the data, you could argue that talking about the dangers of heart disease, that these two things are connected by research, and then ethos and credibility. Being PETA, being a national organization, they do hold some trustworthiness because of the nature of the organization. So breaking down our rhetorical appeals is really powerful when it comes to crafting our arguments. And again, I go back to claim, evidence, and reasoning, thinking about those high school English classrooms. But essentially, the Toolman structure is an argumentation structure that is designed to help you to logically and ethically and responsibly persuade others. So your claim is your main statement, your evidence is your proof, and your warrant or your reasoning connects your evidence to your claim by answering the question, so what, or how and why your evidence supports your claim. So for example, let's eat at Jack's Shack is my claim, and my evidence is they have great service. And so my reasoning is you appreciate good service, so you'll enjoy it. Again, using CER or claim, evidence, reasoning to organize your ideas can be really helpful. Now, if you are giving an informative speech or declarative sentences, what you want your audience to believe or accept. There are different types of claims, which can be factual, informative, persuasive. And your examples or your evidence could be, for example, universities are developing textbook affordability initiatives. So, for example, if I want my audience to think about choosing a textbook, if I'm working with colleagues for our next semester course, I would establish that I think it's important that students don't have to pay hundreds of dollars for textbooks every semester. I would gather research and data to support my claim. And then again, my example, universities are developing textbook affordability initiatives. So when it comes to evidence, there are 5 different types of evidence that you can build or utilize to build your ethos. Your ethos is your credibility. Examples from your personal life or from the world. Stories are so powerful. So again, narratives and your own personal story can be really helpful. Facts, statistics, and testimonials. So gathering different types of evidence can really support your overarching claim. When it comes to writing a warrant, you want to answer how and why your evidence is significant. So if I was talking about comm studies builds job skills, my evidence would be 80% of jobs need interpersonal skills, and then my reasoning is comm courses teach critical thinking and interpersonal skills. Now, handling counter arguments or refutations. In anything we do, we are going to have the people, the naysayers out there that are trying to fight back or have a different perspective than us. So using a signpost or a signal acknowledging that some might believe this, or I understand the other side says this. Then summarizing or restating someone else's perspective, and then explaining why your position still holds is an important part of the refutation process. That idea of giving acknowledgement and critically listening to other people, but also then saying, well, I hear what you're saying, but when you're crafting that argument. Now, language is also so important to utilize. Clear, concrete, and specific language offers stronger arguments. By saying, hey, I feel blue, like for example, hey, I feel kind of sad, that is a vague word. Well, why am I sad? What am I sad about? What degree am I sad to? So understanding denotative or dictionary or literal definitions and connotative meanings of words, so the emotional meanings of words, can help me to choose my language better. Tying it all together, when it comes to the power of words, we utilize argumentation on a daily basis all the time. From claim, evidence, and warrant or reasoning to ethos, pathos, and logos, we've got these structures in place to help us to be stronger communicators. Always, when debating or trying to persuade someone, acknowledge the other side. By refuting the other side, you're connecting to others, you're making that a shared communicative experience, but you're still holding firm in your beliefs or your perspectives. And remember, language can be really vague, so make sure you're specific with your word choice because language shapes how your audience hears the message.